So, so I just want to go ahead and clarify something. Um, Considering the long paper trail of, you know, fraudulent activities, as well as, also, attempts of committing disability fraud, numerous different forms of fraud. Me having all the evidence that I need. Like, we're talking literal bank statements. We're talking, you know, full down to every penny. All right. As well as a full catalog of physical belongings, values, you know, like we're talking full calculations. And we're also talking calculations too of the amount of physical labor that I did throughout the years. Full work. All right. While at the same time, I'm pretty pissed about being called lazy when meantime, if I wanted to, I can go ahead with the evidence between, all the abuse that I suffered throughout the years. We're talking, including, by the way, there's a file within Department of Health and Human Services. It's about yay big of all the abuse that I ended up going through between that group home in Deer Park. Literally the fact that my mom on every weekend basis would go ahead and, you know, say that there was an issue to have me go put in what's called a respite, where on the weekends I would get sent to the houses of random families, all right, that I never knew, never would see again. Literally just shipped off everywhere, all right? Financially, every single penny that I've had coming in, every single penny that I have sent out. All right. We're talking full documentation. From the point of 2013, 2014, give or take, around there. All on 2 flash drives because I saw the whole, attempt to remote access my devices. I already knew how that was going to go. So I was smart enough to know, hey, you leave a paper trail. We live in the digital age. So ultimately, I don't care how good of a hacker you are. Good luck, remote accessing a flash drive. So ultimately, all I'm going to say is, with the amount of evidence that I have to be able to go ahead and, end up proving, my Eighth Amendment right, protections from cruel and unusual punishment as well as over excessive bail. And, the whole obtaining property under false pretenses, which, by the way, the court in Virginia had already ruled against my uncle and the factors, saying that, that attempted contract, with the attempt to steal my identity was completely fraudulent and predatory, and ultimately would not hold up whatsoever. So I've already been ruled in favor of, So now it's about, the attempts of like, well, now we're just going to go ahead and try to hold you hostage until you go ahead and pay what we determine is your ransom. And we say your ransom is every single fucking penny that irrevocable trust that none of my family is allowed to access is accessible to them. And the answer to that is, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself. Didn't expect for me to end up having a lawyer or getting a lawyer either. Well, that ended up happening. Not to mention that, but ultimately too, what they were pretty pissed off about also was the factor that every stipulation and condition that the court ended up giving for, my past record and everything like that to be, completely expunged and sealed. Yeah, I followed every criteria, did all of my probation, did all of my community service. Like, and when I say all of it, I mean I did thousands of hours. All right. We're talking no debts accrued. Literally ended up going ahead and doing that, federal work study program to go ahead and finish my high school diploma, as well as getting my degree at the same time. So literally every stipulation when it came to that trust had been met. So to try to go ahead and be like, well, I didn't see it, so I don't believe it, and at the same time, too, trying to discredit the capability of being able to do my schooling online, which is, by the way, it's pretty funny because, to go ahead and be like, oh no, it's not, you going ahead and continuing and finishing your education online isn't valid, because I didn't see you go to a school. I didn't see you go into a building. And it's like, well, you tried doing what you could to make it as difficult as possible with those false allegations, to be able to, mingle amongst, my peers. So I had to go ahead and do it the only way that I could, until the whole situation was resolved. And, yeah, but now there's literally no excuses other than if this continues on, and trying to, continue to obstruct, with civil litigation, especially that whole, trying to use, trying to make a metadata trail, going ahead and trying to use the fact of being under the same IP address while using two phones to go ahead and send messages between to go ahead and make it seem like, I'm the one causing the problem. Yeah, there's a reason that ultimately there's been every attempt of interference to keep me from going on a testimony stand. And that's because of the fact that if I go on the stand, literally presenting those, which, by the way, not the only flash drives, like I said, I already dealt with my lawyer. So, but yeah, ultimately is going to prove really bad for my mom, especially considering the fact that there were a few people that their signature ended up getting forged and, fraudulent credit lines taken out that ends up linking to, the elders, because apparently it's supposed to be a family, issue, while at the same time, some of those same family members, ironically enough now, are facing potentially to end up going to prison for fraud, and ironically, I'm not one of those people on the hook. I kind of wonder whose credibility is in question more, mine or theirs. It's kind of like maybe they shouldn't have done that to every younger member of my family. Then they could have had a little bit of plausibility of, oh, extreme circumstances.